Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of How Beginner Friendly Is, where I try out a brand new killer for the very first time, starting all the way from scratch. How challenging are they to master as a new player? How do they play when you don't have access to all the perks and add-ons? And most importantly, how fun are they to play? That's what we will try to find out in this series. But before we get into today's episode, let's go over the premises of this series one more time. Number 1. For the first 3 perk slots unlocked, I'm only going to use the killer's original perks. Number 2. For the last perk slot unlocked, I will only use perks that are universal to every killer. That means perks I have previously unlocked from, let's say, the shrine, is not usable in this context. Number 3. I'm starting at basically 0 blood points to get the most authentic experience. That means for the first match I will be starting with only 1 perk and absolutely no add-ons at all. Number 4. I will play a total of 10 matches with every killer. How many levels I gain on the way and the perks and add-ons that I get is out of my control, and if you will do the same as me, your experience would differ from mine. And number 5. I will not read up on any killer beforehand. I'm going in blind as best as I can. So, today's killer is the Blight. Now, of what I've heard, this killer is supposed to be super fun to play, but on the other side, he is really hard to play as well. And for me, who plays this game with a controller, this will probably be a real challenge. I always enjoy meeting Blights as a survivor though, but sadly you don't see a lot of them in the game. As far as I understand, he is supposed to be a really good killer, but is it the skill level required to play him that makes him so rare to see? Maybe we'll find out throughout this evening. But as always, let's go through his 3 personal perks. His first perk is called Dragon's Grip. When you kick a generator for the next 30 seconds, if a survivor repairs the generator, they will be exposed for 60 seconds and reveal their position for 4 seconds. That does sound quite nice actually, but I can honestly say I've probably only seen this perk being used once or twice during my time in DBD, so does that mean it's not that good? It sounds like a good addition to an exposed build in my eyes. His second perk is a Hex perk, Hex Blood Favor. As long as the Hex totem is still active, when you injure a survivor, all pallets within a certain range from that survivor will be blocked from being dropped for 15 seconds. I guess this could be really good in certain maps. His last perk is another Hex perk, Hex Undying. What this does is, whenever a Hex totem is broken by a survivor, the Hex will transfer to the Hex Undying instead. So I guess it's kind of like a second chance for your other Hex totems then. This would probably be really good with certain Hex totem builds. As for his power goes, it is quite simple. You press a button to rush forward at high speed. When rushing, you cannot attack. If you hit a wall or an obstacle, you go into a slam. After that, you can lethal rush 4 times before you run out of tokens. With lethal rush, you can attack survivors, so it's basically rush, hit something, lethal rush, try to hit survivors. This sounds really easy, but I doubt it will be as straightforward as that. No pun intended. I chose to run with Dragon's Grip to begin with, and of course, before we head into our first game, let's see if we can at least look good first. Yeah, now this looks good. Now we are ready to go. Let's go! And for our first match we are in the Macmillan estate. First thing first, let's see how this power works. And yeah, it seems to be kind of straightforward. You get 5 tokens. When you spend them all, you need to wait till all tokens are recharged to use it again. And if you miss an object while rushing, you get fatigued for a few seconds and you'll start to recharge. I found my first survivor quite quick and got the first lethal rush hit in. Now that felt nice. The game itself went kind of good for me. I got a few basement hooks, which always is painful for the survivors. And I have to show you this one hit I got on Kate on this map. How I even did that, I don't know, but damn, it felt good. As for a first game, I think I got a bit lucky with the survivors and I did get a 4K. I was struggling a lot with the rush though, and I could definitely see already how hard it will be to master this power. After the match we got a few add-ons and they seemed pretty straightforward as well. We slapped a few of them on and we went into the next match. And this time we are at Coldwind Farms, and let's just say it won't be the last time. And as for a map tile, I don't think this is the best for Blight. And I'll be honest, I struggled a lot in this match. I think a lot of the problem I had, which I hadn't figured out yet, is that I was using the rush way too much, even in smaller loops. So I wasted a lot of time by doing so since I just got lost and the survivors got away. It was an intense match though, especially when it was down to one gen left. I got one kill and the others escaped. The team did a really good job with unhooking and healing each other though, so GG. I didn't get enough to unlock my second perk slot, so we will just head into the next match. Wait. What? Oh, Jesus. Some of the names in this game. And now we are in the Red Forest. The nice thing about rushing is that you can find the first survivor or survivors quite quickly and therefore get the pressure on them immediately. I find it nice that you can start the match fully charged with tokens. I did not feel I performed well in this game, as you can see right here. But for some odd reason it ended up being a 4K. Not a good match for me, but the result is what it is. A nice little comeback from the last match. We unlocked our second perk slot and I decided to go with both Hex perks now, Hex Blood Favor and Hex Undying. I don't think I had any value out of Dragon's Grip so far, but that was probably my own fault for not paying attention. So the next match took place in Altahaven Wreckers. My initial thought was that this map is probably not good for Blight. Lots of small jungle gyms and tight loops. And I was right. This was a terrible match on my behalf. I just got lost all the time, losing the survivors east and west, so yeah, at this point I was really struggling with the rushes and it felt bad. I'll make this a bit short as we will go straight into the next few matches back to back. Let's just jump straight into match number 5. And yeah, we are back at Coldwind Farms. Ugh. This game was terrible as well. I think I got like one hook when we were down to one gen left. I got one kill in the end and the survivors got away. Well, not before teabagging first. The 6th match took place in the grave of Glenvale. This was not a terrible match in that sense, but I didn't perform well and the gens were just flying. In the end, I kind of just gave up and goofed around, and I guess the survivors appreciated that as well. So it was a fun game, not just a good one. The next match, well, let's see, 3 toolboxes and 2 petrified oaks. Ugh. Well, yes, this game was horrible. But luckily I had some eggs that was boiling, so I had the perfect excuse to go AFK during the game to make sure they didn't overcook. Thank God. Next game. And we are in the backwater swamp back to back, and I'll just make this super short. I struggled. I can't get the rush to work in my favor. I don't have any use of my perks. At this point, I just realized learning the Blight takes a long time, and lots of practice. Not only with his power, but also knowing the maps and the different obstacles around the maps. I do see why he is considered very hard to play. And for the next match, well, no thank you. Let's just skip this. And the last match for the evening, we are back in the Red Forest. Only this time, I didn't play as well and the survivors all escaped. I will admit though, I'm so glad this evening is over with because this has been painful. So let's not make this video any longer and let's get right into the verdict. So after playing 10 matches, or in this case it's more correct saying completed 10 matches, what do I feel about the Blight? Well, in all honesty, it was really painful playing him. The skill cap required to play him well is sky high, and considering I play with a controller as well, just makes it even more difficult. He is super fun to play and his power is great to use, but to have any real use of it takes a lot of practice. A lot. As I couldn't get the hang of it, I struggled more than I had fun, and that ended up for me as a bad experience. But let's get to the real question, how beginner friendly is the Blight? Well, I would give him a 1 out of 10. If this was your first killer in the game, I would guarantee you would struggle, and many of you would probably give up quite quick. This killer not only requires you to know his power really well, but also knowing the map layout and how and where to rush and slam. You also need to do multiple split-second decisions when you first start rushing, and one mistake can make you lose the chase completely and even waste more time as well. His starting perks are okay. They sound good on paper, but having some good use of them in the game is a bit hard. Especially the Dragon's Grip when you don't have any other perks to help you out. Blood Fever and Undying is both good perks, but as Hex Totems you could get unlucky and lose them right away. On the positive side though, he is super fun to play, even when you don't perform well, and rushing always feels good. And if you just hang in there, I think this definitely could be your favorite killer in the game. You just need to spend a lot of time practicing. And yeah, that's it for this time. I'll see you next time with a new killer to play. Thank you so much for watching and whoop whoop!